What's up, gang? Just pulled up to the Motorplex for the first time as a driver, not a spectator. Guys have been helping me from the fucking start. These guys right here, wouldn't be here without them, literally, because get ready for this, the fucking transmission link fell off my car today between the shop and the fucking house. So Aaron had to rehook that up. Keith showed up to the rescue, helped us load in from the warehouse. Ben met us here. We got a couple more guys coming. I'm shitting my pants, big time. Shitting my pants. But we'll get the car off, get it through the pit inspection bay, see how we go. What's up, gang? So, bit of an interesting format for this one. I wanted to do periodic updates from every time we came back off of the track, but it was basically off the track, straight back to the staging lane. If I needed anything, the guys would bring it from the pit. So, yeah, I'm going to pop in periodically and do some updates, tell you how I was feeling and how it was going at the time. What you just saw was from load up to engine starts. Engine starts was a bit of a panic moment. As you can see, I couldn't get the car to fire when we first got it on the track. It's embarrassing to admit, but I was in such a panic mode that there came a point where I didn't know if there was a push truck behind me or not. I wasn't sure if the car had actually fired or not, and turns out it didn't. And so we went for a second push, which is where it finally fired. The next issue we face is that, again, I panicked, and when we went out the exit chute out of turn 3, I couldn't get the car out of gear, so it stalled out, and we didn't really get to warm the engine properly. So we went into our first set of laps with something of a cold engine, and it showed, because when I kind of pressed on the gas a little bit, it didn't respond immediately. It kind of putted up to like, you know, where I felt it should be, until we took the green light, where it was fine. It was, as far as Ian can tell, it was just a matter of the engine not warming up properly. The temperature gauge should be close to 200. We at the time, even after the first run, it wasn't above 130, 140. So yeah, that was the kind of, like, you know, big panicky start. But now we're gonna have a look at my first actual laps under green light conditions. first laps. As you can see, wasn't quick, and I wasn't expecting to be, so that's fine. My goal for that was to stay out of the way and just kind of get a feel for how the car handles, like, you know, its reaction, what it just feels like on the track. Honestly, the track was kind of sludgy at that point, hadn't been worked in at all, so just trying to keep it, you know, relatively straight. The pace did pick up a little bit, like the last maybe 2-3 laps. But yeah, the goal was not to try and stand on it and, like, you know, see what I could get out of it first try. I needed to feel the car out, basically, which I feel like I did towards the end. And the panic went away in the moment, but the lead up was brutal, because I found out as I was kind of putting my gear on that there was only one other LS1 that showed up for practice, even though they have a show this weekend. So we had to run with the limiteds, which was terrifying, because not only are they a bigger, more powerful car, but because they're, like, you know, the drivers have experience and they know what they're doing. And yeah, the guys had to talk me down, honestly. I wasn't going to pack it up and leave, but it had me worried, honestly, because, you know, I'm not trying to live with myself, like, you know, junking somebody else's car or my own, because that's the end of my career. If I junk this car, I'm done. So yeah, it was a panic moment, but we got through the first one. Car was starting to warm up, but still not quite there. You know, like, we looked at the Teltac afterwards. It was like in like the 4,000s, like it was like 4.4 or something, you know, so barely touched the gas, which is funny because even as slow as I was going, it felt like 800 fucking kilometers an hour. It felt so fast, but I wasn't going fast. But yeah, so it was a good feeler. And I remember saying to Keith as we were, like, back in the staging lane that I feel like I can kind of open it up a little bit on the second one, which there was a big difference between the first and the second run, as there was for the second and the third. So yeah, that's all my thoughts between the first and second run for now. We did put a churn of fuel in between these two runs. That was the only thing that we changed. And okay, so let's have a look at the difference between run 1 and 2. So, as you can see, significant bump in speed, and just a lot smoother, a lot more control, like you're through the corners. Basically, I knew, like, I've been told by many people that the cars drive better the quicker you go. Like, the faster you go, the better they handle. And obviously, you know, if just the basic understanding of, like, you know, how cornering works on a dirt track, the faster you enter, the better speed you carry through the corner, like, you know, and you're not tightening up, this car's not going to snap straight, it will carry its momentum from entry to exit. So that was kind of the goal, to see if I could get the car up to a speed where I could carry, you know, the momentum through the corner without the car snapping straight, tightening up. And there was a couple of corners in which I feel like I did that, you know, pretty well, I think. The getting passed by those two cars at, like, on that same corner was weirdly not a panic moment. I thought it was going to be. And I think you may even be able to hear the guys, like, you know, my friends, like, you know, standing there, like, you know, saying there's something of a nervous moment. But I don't know, in the moment it was fine, because you can hear them. I was surprised at how well you can hear the cars behind you and around you. So I was like, okay, I can hear one on my outside, I can hear one on my inside, I can see the one on my inside. So they, like, you know, made their moves, and I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. Just kind of I tried to hold my line the best I could, and you know, I wasn't going quickly enough where you know, I was in any danger of like, you know, hitting any of them, because they had well since cleared. So and then it became a matter of potentially thinking about, like, you know, making a move past the purple car, which I contemplated not doing, because I'm like, you know, at this point it's a pretty high risk, like, you know, trying to make any kind of pass when your second time in the seat of the sprint car. So, but I don't know, in the moment I was like, I feel like I can do this, and just entering what was 3 and 4, I was like, okay, carry enough speed through here, get a good exit out of 4, stand on it a little bit through the straight, and then in theory you should have enough speed and momentum to, you know, make the pass on the high side through 1 and 2. And yeah, I feel like I was able to do that pretty well. I feel like the car maybe tightened up a little bit on exit. It was probably me, like, you know, kind of getting off the gas a little too much, just making sure that I, you know, didn't spin or lose control or anything like that. But honestly, it went fine. Towards that last lap, you could see, like, a couple of cars backed up behind me, because by that point I kind of moved into a weird place on the track. It was kind of dead in the middle of the track, so it would have been hard for anybody to look for a pass high or low. Not intentional, it's just that's where I felt like, you know, I could drive the car the quickest at the time, and if they wanted to make a pass, they could, you know, put the slider on. You know, they had much more speed on me at that point. So, but yeah, we got the yellows, and that was the end of session 2. Felt infinitely better, a lot more confident, and I knew that we were only going to get one more run before the night was done. So we went straight from, you know, the exit chute to bake back into the staging lane, ready for number 3. And so the third run is night and day from 1. I was not patting myself on the back too hard, but I was really proud of this effort on in the third session. I've only got about 30 seconds worth of footage from this one, but it's from a good angle, and it actually shows you know, how much speed I had gained from the first time I went out on the track. So yeah, let's have a look at that. Okay, so as you can see, we pulled in because we ran out of fuel. Ian knew that it was, like, you know, running a bit low. Thought we could probably, you know, squeeze out this last session. And to be fair, we only ran, like, you know, a lap and a half short, if that. So in the moment, it was probably a matter of getting back into the staging lane and not risking, like, you know, missing our last session trying to get fuel in the car. And yeah, look, it's really not a big deal. Out of the whole night, we missed a lap and a half of our first practice, so Through coming up next week, Benji's going to come to the workshop. We're going to dump a bunch of fuel in the tank, prime the pump, run everything through, fire the car off. As long as there's no issues, it should be fine. Going to replace all the spark plugs and clean out all the injectors as well, ready for our next practice in about 2 weeks' time. And we will be running our first race on the 2nd of December at the Motorplex. So, yeah, big things. I had no intention of running races this season, but I've got enough encouragement from people, and the numbers could always be boosted in the LS1 class. So, yeah, we're going to be joining the field a little sooner than what I thought, but I'm feeling okay about it. So we actually got the invite to come and race tomorrow night, but it's just not enough time. If I want to do everything that Ian suggested and pull a crew together in time, it was going to be too close. So skipping tomorrow night's show, but we'll be ready to join the field on December the 2nd. So some final thoughts on the whole experience. Worth the wait, I'll say that. It was kind of surreal to have an entire lifetimes of kind of fantasies just suddenly, happening, for real. It was really crazy. I thought I was gonna cry, honestly, but I think I was just too happy, and maybe also a little bit in shock that it was happening. So yeah, just honestly happiest, best day of my life. So, and it was day one, so I can't wait for more to happen. Actually driving the car, it's true that the quicker you go, the easier they are to drive. It's just gaining, the confidence to step on it a little bit is really freaking scary. It's also very counterintuitive. You're driving a regular car, your instinct is to get off the throttle, apply brake, and then make your turn. Whereas obviously in a sprint car and most dirt cars, you're standing on it all the way into setting the car into the corner, which feels pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie, it's a really cool feeling. It's just doing it for the first couple of times, and every time really is just really kind of scary. But when you get a feel for it, it's which, I mean, I'm not saying I have a feel for it, but once you've turned a couple of laps, it kind of makes sense a little more. However sideways you think it feels inside a sprint car, it's more. There was those laps that I turned there in that third session. It felt like the car was 90 degrees, but it wasn't even close. But it's freaking cool, having the car carrying that much speed through the turn, and you've just got your head turned a little bit to the right, and the track up there was a little, I think maybe a little drier, and you could kind of feel the bumps a little bit more, and the tires kind of grabbing it as I was going over it. Oh man, it was pretty fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie, one of the coolest feelings, if not the coolest feeling I've ever had in my life. Yeah, just it's kind of, I was thinking about this today. The experience of sitting in the car and then driving the car under green light conditions is really polar opposite from each other. I sat in the car for the first time and thought, holy crap, I can't see fucking anything. And then, but for some reason, the moment in driving it, you can see everything. You on the opposite side of things, you feel like you're going really fast, but you're actually going really freaking slow. Yeah, it's just, it's amazing how instinct kicks in, and how just naturally it sort of comes to you when you're doing it. I don't have anything to support this at all, and I'm not even sure if I'll give it all of the credit, but I am curious as to how much iRacing helps, because you watch dirt and sprint cars your whole life, you understand how it should work, but I don't know, I'd like to see a study done on how much driving a simulator helps someone when they're getting into the car for the first time. I don't know, I'd give it some credit for damn sure. Yeah, look, just an unreal experience, and I consider myself so lucky to be in this position. I didn't fall into this position by luck or chance. Some risks were taken to get here, and there's no guarantees that this will last forever or that it won't end poorly, but just everybody that's reached out, like, you know, via the comments, especially on that, especially on the cost breakdown video, just the good energy and the support that came from people who, a lot, the consensus, like the general energy was, this is cool that you're doing this, and I wish I was too, and like, you know, there still might be hope, which was the whole point and purpose of that video. So it's yeah, it's come together really nicely, and I don't know, I feel like I had a whole freaking day to think about what I wanted to say right now, and I bet you I'll go to bed after this and think of 1,000 more things to say. But I think one of the last things I'll say is that I hope everybody gets a chance to experience, like, you know, what I just did, because it's worth the wait, trust me. And this was an LS1, like, you know, if you're lucky enough to strap into a 360 or a 410, whoa, that'd be damn cool to say that you did, you know what I mean? So yeah, gang, if you've made it this far, thank you. I have now started an Instagram, Rain Leeson Motorsport. I'll leave, like, you know, the tag in the description of this video. If you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because that's the sign that I'm doing the right thing. Yeah, come and follow the Instagram. The Instagram has a bit of a different sort of energy. It's a lot more instantaneous, whereas a lot of work goes into making these videos. Yeah, I'd love to have you on board, and it'd be cool to kind of get the energy of what everybody's thinking as I'm kind of going through this. So I think that's it for me, gang. So thanks for checking it out. Appreciate it. Till next time. Bye for now.